I met Pete for the first time on a yoga retreat in Goa. He was the best yoga teacher, but very reserved. I noticed he had some army tattoos. I wanted to ask about them, but he would never talk about himself. When I got home, I looked him up. I couldn't believe it. He'd been with Special Forces in Helmand and was awarded a medal for bravery. Pete's unit had been in an ambush. He tried to save a colleague whose leg had been blown off, but by the time they'd reached base, it was too late. Pete was the only survivor. I booked the retreat again the next year. I thought he was such an interesting bloke. Still waters, you know. And one evening, after class, I followed him down to the beach. I saw him throw something into the water and went to have a look. Picked it out of the shallows before it was washed away. It was his medal. I picked it up. I went back to Goa the following year, but Pete wasn't teaching and it just wasn't the same. Not as good. Then, a couple of years later, I saw an online ad for his new retreat in a lighthouse. I booked immediately. I took the medal with me. Perhaps he would want it back. It was the same Pete Noach, and if anything, he was an even better teacher. One coffee break, when I got him on his own, I brought up Helmand in conversation. I wish I hadn't. It was like a shutter coming down. I didn't mention the medal. I kept coming back for the yoga, and over the years I saw Pete mellow. I think the lighthouse was doing him good. He even cracked a joke with the group once in a while. So, that summer, the one before he died, I decided to act. It was the day I was leaving and I showed him his medal. There was a moment of total surprise. I was worried then. But he took it. He turned it over in his hand. The poor guy was lost for words. He gave me a nod of thanks and slipped it into his pocket. I'm glad he got it back.
Oh, Pete. Oh, yeah.
This is a conspicuous gallantry cross. They don't give those to just anybody.
I was getting ready to lay my egg. But my nest needed that little something extra. I found the perfect thing. The human and that metal beast seemed quite agitated at their loss.
I always hated those blooming things.
dogs are actually very good at solving these. They're just hard for us to turn.
Okay, that's all of the mementos. Now what do we have to do?
Wow, I'm getting a really strong scent. Well done. I should easily be able to sniff out Peter's spirit now.
All right then. What do you need me to do?
Absolutely nothing. Just let me do my thing.
What in the world?
There's...
Those things.
Yep. Yep. Those are all of Pete's fragments. I just need to round them up.
Go get 'em, girl. Pete! Oh, wow! It's...
Of course I remember you, Morris. It's lovely to see you. How's Death?
Oh, well, you know, it's a bit jarring, but... Well, I'm having a nice enough time. But listen...
The custodian? The person who communes with the island?
Yes, well, that's the thing.
Oh, me? To be the custodian? Oh, Morris, I'm flattered, but I don't think I'm the one for this job. I spent my whole life...
Well,
Would you want to come with me?
well, that's kind of you, but...
I understand. Well, but...
Well, that didn't go...
No worries, Morris. Plenty of...
Hey, Pete mentioned going in...
Oh, well, that's a very complicated question, Morris. Just think of it as...
Oh, is that opening already? Time certainly does move a bit quicker once you're not in the world. Talking to people, it all feels so distant.
Oh, you weren't a ghost, Morris. That museum is full of life, and ghosts can't give belly rubs anywhere near as well as you did, trust me.
Ah, yes, Val. I do feel a bit sorry for her.
Maybe, but at least we have a laird who's interested in doing nice things for Shelmerston.
I suppose so. I was never sure about letting all those artists stay on Shelmerston, but I must... My, how the park has changed. I barely recognise it anymore with all these artists buzzing up.
Oh, they're not so bad. So many different and...
Yes, well, you and I have...
And now we need to sniff out Val. Just like before, let's find some people with memory.
Gloves! I love them. I can't get enough gloves. I stole a farmer's glove. I stole a fisherman's glove. I saw that girl out in my woods, riding that strange bumpy beast around again. She really seemed to love that awful creature. This was an opportunity I wasn't going to miss. Lovely gloves.
I always did suspect there might be something in those rumours about camels on the...
Hey, Morris, I bet you wish you were alive so you could rob me. I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris.
After my wife Penny's death, I struggled to find ways to spend time with my daughter. It had hit us both hard, but, you know, stiff upper lip and all that. I always found it best to keep busy. Looking for something we could do together, I bought Valerie a set of paints. But she never even opened them. I was cross at first, but asked myself, what would Penny do? so I decided to let it go. Then one day I managed to talk her into coming into the park with me to paint some of the nature she loves so much. She wasn't very enthusiastic, but agreed to give it a try. It was a disaster. Valerie simply didn't have the temperament for painting. She had a huge, silly tantrum and threw all the paints away. I told her I wasn't having this kind of childish behavior, and I told her to stay in her room until she had calmed down. I wished Penny was still with us. She would have known what to do with the child.
Very hard, that, to lose a parent. Was never going to be easy after her. Yeah, painting.
I spent the summer of '83 with Henry Outram, Laird of Shelmerston, in his grand hall working on a new piece. It was supposed to be about the volcano, but once I arrived, I found myself particularly taken by all the vales around the island. Henry was a delightful host, always excited to have us bright young artists around, and always ready with a charming question or a fortifying glass of something. His daughter, I think her name was Mallory or Valerie or something, was usually outside roaming the grounds. Henry said she was discovering herself and learning self-reliance through independent play. She seemed feral to me. One day, I came across the perfect finishing touch to my sculptural masterpiece, but it turned out to belong to the wretched child. I tried to explain to her why I needed it, but she snatched it away and walked off. I went to Henry, thinking he could make her give me the boat, but to my astonishment, Henry told me it was up to her if she wanted to give it to me. Henry called his daughter and we all talked about it. When Henry suggested that maybe I could buy the boat, her little eyes lit up. It cost me £200 for that little wooden boat, but, well, it was worth it.
Henry was a good dad at heart, caring about Val's feelings, and treating her like a grown-up even when she was little. Partly how she became so
wonder how many people even...
The famous sculptor Vernon Russet was working on a huge statement piece in my honor, a statue of a camel with my head. When I saw it, I felt quite uncomfortable, but I didn't want to upset him. Poor Vernon could be awfully temperamental, sinking into dark moods for days. The week before the public unveiling, Vernon had me visit the statue. He needed to make some final adjustments to the face. Valerie came along too. She looked like thunder. She hated that statue and wasn't afraid to show it. I couldn't help thinking how like her mother she was. When the statue was revealed, the nose was missing. Fortunately, we all managed to cover our surprise and act like nothing was wrong, so no one was any the wiser. Some fellow from the Times wrote a glowing review, so Vernon wasn't too glum about it. I'm pretty sure I know what happened to that nose. Aha, the old Outram spirit. Good for you, Valerie. Your mother would have been proud of you.
Yeah, Val told me about this. She had a whole speech prepared.
This thing looks heavy. I'm surprised Val was able to even lift it.
In the last summer, before our GCSEs, Val and me spent a lot of time together, usually wondering how we could get our hands on something to drink. No one on this stupid little island would serve us, though. One day, we were hanging around on the allotments near the quay when we spotted something. And so, later that night, we went into the woods behind Val's house to drink it, sitting on top of that ancient stone that they say protects the island. But there was no way we were going to get through it all. So we decided to bury the rest. A few weeks later, we went to dig it up again, but couldn't remember where we dug the hole.
There is so much of our history buried on this island. Storm?
Wow, Morris, this smells incredible. I'm getting scallop.
Morris? Morris Lopton? Is that really you?
Val! Oh, it's so good.
You too! You're looking very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello, Val.
And Sparky talks now. Death certainly has been...
Well, we're trying to find a replacement custodian.
Oh, yes. Poor Aggie.
Aggie?
Aggie is the
Oh, well, then, yes.
Oh, Morris.
Oh, you can do...
I'm flattered. But those are enormous shoes to fill. And I'm not like you, Morris. I don't love this town like you do. And, if I'm being honest, I can't abide...
Oh, well, I'm sorry to...
Thank you.
You too, Val. Sparky, I'd love to spend some more time...
Oh, I'm sorry, Morris. We really need to keep this search up.
Come back later, Morris. I'll be here.
Oh, well, all right, Val.
Goodbye.
Oh, slow down, Sparky.
No time, Morris. We need...
Well, it's just that I don't quite
We're
understand...
looking for the custody.
Well, I get that bit, Sparky, but... What?
Oh, well, it's hard to explain with your human words.
A part of the rock?
Yes, the rock, and the sea, and the animals, and plants.
And you give up being...
Yeah. Well, a walking around talking kind of ghost. Stop being someone who can go...
Oh, wow. Well, no wonder Val doesn't want to...
Oh, she really...
I always thought there are those folks destined to be mayors and, I suppose,
What? Small?
Yeah, I suppose I'm more like one of those island oddities.
Yeah. And they were always the visitors' favourites. Now, we need to...
Ogden it is. I'm right behind... So, Ogden next, eh? I'll be glad to see him again.
His music always hurt my ears, but he was good at chin scratchers. Oh, lovely guy. Oh, look, the ferry's come.
I suppose they won't get in our way much anymore, eh, girl?
We were 14 when we started going out. Me and my friend Cassia had started a beach clean at the weekend, and Ogden turned up with his mate Godfrey. I had no idea Ogden liked me. He was the tallest in our year, and we all fancied him. By the time we reached the little cove at the north end of the beach, he'd asked me to come to a concert he was playing in. I said yes. We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Floristry College on the mainland. I didn't tell Ogden. I didn't believe I'd get in, and didn't want him to think I was trying to get away from him. But I did get in, and he was gutted. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt Ogden. He said he didn't mind, but I could see he was covering. My last week on Shelmerston was really hard. Every time I saw him, it felt so strained, and I couldn't sleep. Finally, on my last night, I made a decision. I would take an apprenticeship at the garden centre on the island instead, so we could stay together. It felt like the right thing to do. I would tell Ogden in the morning. But when I opened the door the next day, I found Ogden's sousaphone left on the doorstep. I was terrified. What did it mean? What had he done? I ran down to his house, my heart in my mouth. His mum, she never did like me, was a little bit smug. She told me Ogden had sailed off to New Zealand. He was headed to Christchurch, she said, and didn't know when he was coming back. Then I was more than a bit tearful, but, looking back, I think we both needed to have a bit of an adventure.
I spent a lot of time with Sally during this period. We used to meet up quite often when she returned from Floristry College, and I was working at the museum. For a while.
How did that get in there? I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Mom.
I remember we was walking home from school, a bunch of us, and I told him my grandad said the lad had a live Bactrian camel living somewhere in the woods. Everyone laughed, but I told them it was true. Ogden didn't believe me. Someone would have seen it. He dared me to climb in and prove it. I told him he'd have to come with me. Sneaking past the big house, we were almost caught by the gamekeeper and had to run. Hell for leather for the woods. We reached the trees out of breath. I was bent double and leant against a tree. Ogden had better breath control and he recovered quickly. He saw it first. The clouds parted, the moon shone down, and Ogden gasped. The next day, we were kicking ourselves. We had no proof. No one was going to believe us. But we knew what we saw.
Oh, yeah, he was a couple of years above these chaps.
Camels are so obviously a made-up.
I missed Ogden so much, and for the first month there was no letter at all. I took my place at college on the mainland without knowing how he was feeling. It was a shock how low it made me, even though I was working with flowers, my dream job. I threw myself into making friends and working as hard as I could. I wondered about him travelling the world, without me and without his sousaphone, what he was doing. Then the letters started arriving, and it was amazing. Each one came with a penny from a different country. One from Valparaiso, another from Dakar. I wrote back and told Ogden about my course, trips to Kew Gardens, which were amazing. And Ogden told me about his voyage, watching dolphins and flying fish, crossing the equator. Sometimes, when he arrived in Christchurch, he'd send me flowers pressed in his letters. I sent him a shell from home, and then he sent me a New Zealand halfpenny. It was my favourite. On one side was the head of a Maori tiki. Ogden told me it was lucky. I came back to the island, and when my father died, I opened up my own florist shop on the quay. I tucked the halfpenny under the front step for luck, polished up Ogden's sousaphone and put it in the window. They both brought me luck, and the shop flourished. One day, Ogden showed up at the shop, completely out of the blue. He told me there was nowhere like Shelmerston, and no one like me. I was so thrilled to see him, I asked him to marry me there and then. He said yes.
The lure of Shelmerston. It always pulls people back when they try to move away. They were a lovely couple, Sally and Ogden. Yet one good thing about being dead, I'll never have...
I remember when a young Ogden asked to join the Shelmerston Silver Band. I recognised his talent immediately. He could play anything, that lad. Literally anything. Eventually he settled on the sousaphone, which he always insisted on playing with his lucky bronze mouthpiece. One evening after the Silver Band played a storming concert in the Camel, Ogden and Sally got it into their heads to go for a night's swim in the harbour, young love and all that. Ogden left his mouthpiece behind, and when we came back the next morning to pack up, it had disappeared. It really rattled him. Ogden was worried he wouldn't be able to perform without it, but of course next time we played, he was just as good as ever. Didn't need any lucky mouthpiece, our Ogden. He could play anything, that lad.
Ogden was so talented. A real virtuoso. Oh, I loved listening to him play.
Ugh, speak for yourself, Morris. It was a They seem to have been using it as a funnel. These bootleggers are very resourceful.
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the volcanic sandspit. We had lost to Appledore for the past 3 years, and it was my first year as captain. I didn't want another loss on my watch. Ogden had just come back from New Zealand and told me he'd be up for it. I wasn't sure. I remembered Ogden showed up with his own bat. He told me he'd won it in a pub in Dunedin and that it had belonged to a famous New Zealand player. I wondered whether I should put him into bat at all, but Ogden whispered to me that he'd been playing on deck all the way home. I knew Ogden wasn't a bluffer, but he was never the guy who got picked for the first team at school. Still, I had nothing to lose. Ogden hit a 6 with his first stroke. We went wild! And just when I thought it must be a fluke, he hit another, and another. He was a machine! Ogden hit so many cricket balls out into the sea that we had to stop play. We'd run out. It was a stunning win, and we carried Ogden back across the sand and into the Camel. Even though he'd won the match pretty much single-handedly, he insisted it was all down to the bat and plenty of practice. Ogden was solid gold.
How's that? What a great day that was. And we...
Hey, Morris, remember when we found one of these heavy balls on the beach and I
This feels so...
Oh, it's great to see you too, mate.
Have a stretch, Ogden.
Sparky! Owner of the very finest singing...
Well, it's about the
Ah, yes. I've heard that volcano.
Yes, she is.
Oh.
Are you sure?
I know, and I sympathize, but Sally is the other half of me. I need to watch over her. Everything else may be changing, but...
Yes, I understand.
We were very lucky to find each other. And I'm still lucky just to watch over her. Makes this place still feel a bit like home, even...
Well, after all these years, Ogden still carries that torch for Sally.
You were busy with the museum, Morris. And you did walks and you did...
Yeah, all right, yes.
You did plenty. But now you need to find the next custodian.
Hey, how long has
Oh, a little while now.
Oh, you have?
Well, her body, anyway.
What? Her body?
That's right, Morris.
The Bog Lady. The Bog Lady of Shelmerston. What, that's...
Well, that's her body anyway.
But Aggie is Bronze Age. 3,000...
Yep.
Wow.
More tired every minute. We need to get to the next...
the one part of the island I never spent much time at. I never cared for camping, although we did find a lot of bronze...
Oh, there's so many great smells here. Oh, and so many rabbits to chase.
You know, I suppose I do like it better up here now I don't have to worry about combing all...
Yes. Now let's sniff...
I always found Greg a bit...
He wasn't a bad guy at heart. Just liked animals a bit more than...
Memories of Greg Litherland.